Tonight I have Mark 15th chapter, beginning at verse number 34. It's Mark 15th chapter, beginning at verse number 34.
Yes.
Get to it. Mark 15th chapter, beginning at verse number 34. If you have, please stand. It says that, and at the ninth hour, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which is translated, my God, why have you forsaken me?
All right. Yeah.
I want to preach from tonight, handling silence.
All right.
Handling silence.
All right.
First thing I want to tell you is silence speaks volumes. Jesus on the cross, we understand that Jesus had been silent most of the time that he's on the cross.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being silent while you've been beaten all across your back?
All right.
Being silent while people mock you and mistreat you.
All right.
I know a lot of us have a problem being in silence. Sometimes we have a problem being quiet.
All right.
Jesus, and all his pain and all his suffering, is silent on the cross. Jesus, here, if we begin to look at this chapter, people get worried sometimes when they don't hear anything from God.
Right.
Jesus is having to deal with this on the cross.
Yeah.
At this time, he's the Son of God, and yet he hears nothing from God.
All right.
Can you imagine being in a place, dealing with some stuff, and you don't hear anything from God?
All right.
Have you ever in your personal life been going through some stuff?
My Lord.
Been going through hell in your life.
Yeah.
And you ain't heard an answer from God.
My Lord.
I believe somebody's been down on their knees,
Come on.
waiting for an answer from God.
Yeah.
Say anything.
Hallelujah.
Silence can be scary sometimes.
Yeah.
When we have to sit with ourselves sometime and deal with it on our own. Sometimes we think God has forgotten about us.
Yeah.
Jesus on the cross.
Yeah.
Somebody has been in his place and he's having to deal with this on his own.
Yeah.
And yet he hears nothing from God.
What you say?
Silence sometimes. And as we sit in silence, it makes us reminisce over some things that have gone on in our life.
Yeah.
Silence makes us begin to think about what God has done for us and what we've done for God. Jesus is saying this because Jesus is fulfilling Psalms, the 22nd chapter, where he says, my God, why have you forsaken me?
All right. That's it.
David begins to say, why are you so far from saving me from the words of my groan? Have you ever just gone through some stuff and just wonder what God is in your situation? I have been in some places in my life. I've been through some things in my life where I wonder, God, where are you at? I've been through some things where I had to sit with myself and I wonder, Lord, why have I been so loyal to you?
All right.
And yet I don't hear an answer from you. You don't have to say amen on tonight. But if there's anybody here on tonight, you ever suffered, you've been abused and been talked about, mistreated, and yet Jesus, God has said nothing to you. You've been so loyal to him. You preached all across the country. You preached all across this city for Jesus. And yet you don't hear an answer from him. Jesus, the one who is on his way to the cross, has raised Lazarus from the dead. The one who has thought about others. Still he hears no answer. Jesus, the one on the cross, hears no answer from his Father. So then the second point is Jesus took on sin. So Jesus on the cross takes on the sin of the whole world. You have to understand what's going on in this chapter to understand why Jesus is saying, Father, why are you forsaking me? Jesus, the Bible declares that at the sixth hour that the sun refuses to shine. The sun refuses to shine because God refuses to look upon sin.
That's right. Come on.
In this darkness, Jesus is all alone. Some painted it as a picture of that they can't even see Jesus on the cross. Jesus in darkness is beginning to feel a separation from the Father. Jesus is suffering all alone, all the time after being connected to the Father. manger to the time that he begins to preach in the temple, to the time that he's baptizing. God shines down from heaven and says, "This is my beloved son, who I'm well pleased with." From this time, after he laid hands upon people, after he begins to heal people, he feels connected to God. And then at this moment, there's a disconnection between him and God. The Father begins to sit sin upon his son, and Jesus bears the sin upon him, and he says, "Father, why hast thou forsaken me?" It's just like a parent who has a son that's in trouble. They still love that son, but they can't stand the sin. Have you ever been in a place where you knew that God loved you, but he just couldn't stand the condition that you were in? Somebody's been in a bad condition in your life. God loved you from himself, but he just couldn't stand your condition. So you said, "Father, why hast thou forsaken me?" Has there anybody been here in a place where you just felt like God has forgotten about you on tonight? So Jesus was holy, but he knew no sin, but God made him to know sin on tonight. So Jesus not only had to deal with his physical pain, but he also had to carry the spiritual pain of the world. Beaten all across his back. Cattails taken to him, taking chunks out of his back. Flesh exposed his organs, exposed on tonight. He hung nails all up in his head, nails in his feet. Every time he tried to take a breath, he felt like he was suffocating on tonight. Yet he received a crown of thorns upon his head. But he just began to feel the spiritual pain of the world. Some said the sin was so heavy that he carried the weight of a lifetime. Why is he carrying the weight of a lifetime? This sin begins from the Garden of Eden. Sin started from Adam all the way to the Israelites in the wilderness. The sins of the disciples, the sin even of his enemies. Yet he carries it for you and I. Isaiah described it as the chastisement of our peace was upon him. He said, "But by his stripes we're healed on tonight." So Jesus suffers the penalty so that we might experience forgiveness on tonight. But then the third and final point is that the price was paid. God poured out his wrath on his son.
That's it.
Wrath that had been brewing for 42 generations. Some said over 2,000 years. He pours it out on his son on Calvary's old rugged cross. His son that he still loved and held in high esteem. How do you know he loved Jesus? Because he said, "This is my beloved son, whom I well pleased with." Love just means dearly loved. It hurt God to punish his son, but he had to do it for the sins of the world. So God turns his back on his son on tonight, so he might help humanity on tonight. This plan that was created over 2,000 years ago, set in motion when Jesus was born of a virgin. It's cultivated here on the cross. So Jesus is crying out on tonight saying, "Father, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?" So Jesus is crying out not to say, "Lord, I know you forgot about me," but he's crying out because he knows the answer on tonight. Even in your situation, God knows the answer. So God, he begins to cry out, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?" Jesus cries out because it's unfair to him. Because he had to carry on some sins that was never healed. Jesus knew no sin on tonight. Jesus was not an adulterer. He was not a liar. He was not a manipulator. He was not a cheater on tonight. But he carried all of those titles just for you and I. So Jesus begins to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?" Jesus knew that his Father would not forsake him on tonight. He knew that God would not abandon him. But the reason he asked this question, the Bible declares that Jesus said, "If I be lifted up, I'll draw all men unto me." Jesus begins to drink from a cup on that night. That day that he never intended to drink from. But he told his Father, "Not my will, but let thy will be done." So at the ninth hour, it said he begins to cry out. And I'm going to go to my See, and it's the time that the Passover lamb was usually sacrificed. Jesus was saying on tonight, I'm becoming a perfect example of something that you've been seeking for over 2,000 years. So Jesus paid the ransom in full. Aren't you glad on tonight that when you couldn't pay it for yourself, Jesus paid the ransom for you and I? Aren't you glad on tonight that Jesus began to handle his silence? I'm so glad on tonight that Jesus began to take my place upon the cross. And he died for you and I. Aren't you glad on tonight that Jesus became the no sin so that you might have a gift for eternal life? Not only did he do that, but he went down to Barbary tomb where he laid one Friday evening. Somebody say he laid down that second night. But I heard somebody say early on that third day, he got up with all power in his hand. Aren't you glad on tonight that Jesus died for you? I'm so glad on tonight that he knew how to handle his silence. I'm so glad on tonight that he died for you and I. I'm so glad on tonight that the Father did not forget about me, but he got